Alright, and with that, as you can see, I'm out in the sunlight now, done recording at night. Had the camera run out, but I finished up the rest of the welds on that base plate, which I'll show you in a second. But so right now we have the bottom base done, the main base at least, and we have the top base done. Now what we need to do from here yet is to build the uprights that will support the top and bottom frames. So just need to cut those pieces out to the right size, which should be based on what I want to do, 29 inches. Then I need a way of supporting those, which I'm going to use some of that angle iron I bought, not angle iron, but the slotted steel angle channel, whatever it's called, that I bought when I bought with the lumber. And I'm going to use that to attach the bottom pieces. I'll weld it fast on there, and it actually works out nicely because the holes that are designed for bolts going through I can use to create a really nice plug weld, so that'll be cool, and to practice that, of course. And then the upper frame, which is the 3/4 inch square tubing, that'll be attached by welding on a 2-inch piece of the 1-inch square tubing. It'll fit in there and I can run a bolt through it, and that's how I'll fix those. And one thing that'll help with is making it perfectly level. Will be a matter of bolting it in and not really having to make sure I'm welding each one of these perfectly level, because that could be a bit of a pain, and also make it much more cumbersome to move this around, which I'm obviously building it in the garage and I have to get this up a flight of steps. So I want this to be able to be pulled apart so it's easy to get up there. I'm not trying to carry a fully assembled desk up a flight of stairs, because that's not going to be fun. And then the last thing we need to do yet, or well, two last things, are to build the frames and supports for the fenders and the grille. And the grille should be easy because the way we measured everything out, it should just be running a piece that goes up, across, and down, and it'll bolt into that. So that should be easy enough. The fenders will be a little bit more tricky. I got to figure out those. I'm going to figure those out once I get the two base frames together, and then I can rest the hood on it, and then I can look at how I want to attach the fenders. So with that, let's get back to work. Alright, welcome back. Last little clip, I cut out the 4 pieces of box tubing for the uprights on the lower frame. And I cut those to 28 1/4, a little bit over 28 1/4. The thought process behind that is they'll be sitting on top of that 1-inch base, so that puts it up to 29 1/4, and then this is 3/4 box tubing, so that puts me at 30 inches total, roughly, which is what this wooden frame, that the desk that currently supporting it, is at. And I like the 30-inch height. I think that's, I was planning on making it adjustable, but I'm pretty sure that's where I want it, is at 38 or 30 inches. And the more I think about making it adjustable, the more I see it being a nightmare when I get to not only the fenders, but the grill. And I was realizing that making it so I can adjust that grill and fenders up and down is going to be a massive, massive pain. Especially once I would be trying to figure out how exactly to do it. If I did it in such a way that all of the pieces lifted up when you adjusted it up, so the fenders, hood, and grill all go up at once, that's a lot of weight. And unless I devised a snapping system that snapped into place as you're lifting it, it's going to be at least a two-person job, because you have to lift all these up and then either put a bolt through or put a pin through. That's going to be a massive headache to adjust it, so I would never adjust it if I did it like that unless I devised a way of it automatically locking into the next rung, which is beyond what I need to be doing for this. That would require way more engineering than I'm looking to do right now. I probably could do it, but I do not have the ambition right now to do it. So the other option would be I can make it so each one individually lifts up, and then I could put it into place. So you lift the hood, lift the grill, lift the fenders. But while that would be doable and be pretty simple, it's going to be time consuming. So it's going to take a lot of time, because I have to get all the measurements right, cut all the pieces right, fit everything together, and drill all the holes. It's going to be a lot of work. So I'm thinking I'm just going to get this fixed to a height, and I'll double check that this is the height I want at 30 inches, but I'm pretty sure this is good. But with that kind of throws out my whole way of attaching the top frame to the bottom frame. Originally I was just going to have them kind of sit inside of each other, and then have a bolt going through somewhere in there to adjust the height, and that would hold it together. I'm realizing, since I'm not going to make it adjustable, that that 1 inch is going to sit on top of this 3/4 inch. So let me zoom in so I can show you what I plan on doing. So here's our 3/4 inch. Here's our 1 inch piece that will be the upright coming from the base. Alright, so there's that. Now the problem becomes, how do I want to attach this? Now, the easy way would be to weld it on there, and to make this just kind of bolt in at the base of the frame, and I have a plan already of how I plan on bolting it into the base of the frame. However, this 3/4 inch piece that's going to be welded to the hood, now you have this big 29 inch piece sticking out of your hood. It's going to make that hood a lot harder to move. It would be easily doable. It wouldn't be a problem getting it through the house, but it's clunky. So what I have is, when I bought the box tubing, I believe this is 1/8 inch flat stock, and I bought a 48 inch strip of it, and I cut it into 3-inch strips. And what the plan is I'll take right here, I'll drill a hole in the bottom to make a plug weld, and then I'll also run a bead on the outside of this, on the upper frame, the 3/4 inch box frame, and I'll run another one on the back side. So this one behind, and this one on the other side. And then what I'll do is, with that, I'll run one bolt through low, through one plate, and then I can run another bolt through a higher spot in the tubing, through that piece. and that should make this a really solid connection. And I think that's how I'm going to do it, and I've kind of already committed to that. As you can see, I already cut all 8 pieces I need. Now I need to drill holes in them and weld them into place. So I think that'll be not the next step, but that'll be step after next, which is I'll be attaching or cutting pieces to attach this piece to the bottom frame. So I'll figure out the bottom frame mounting first, and then I can work through this, mostly because I don't want to have to drill through all 8 of these pieces right now. So I'll save you the time and headache of watching me drill holes through all this metal, and we'll skip ahead to the next part. Alright, so here is what I got so far. As you can tell, this is our top frame, bottom frame. Appears that I didn't do that great of a job squaring up the bottom frame. You say this side runs pretty good. This side, it's not terrible. It's a little bit out, but main purpose of this is to show you where we need to run our upward uprights. So we're going to have one on each inside corner here, and one about right in the middle of our outringer, or our spacers. And the way we're going to do that is, you can see I already cut some pieces here. So this is going to go, let's start with these. I cut some of this slotted angle in half, and I was thinking this might not be a terrible idea of how I could attach the top frame to, because then I don't have to worry about drilling holes in it, and it's pretty sturdy. But essentially how it is the uprights will go right here. I'll weld this plate in there, and then I'll weld another one on the other side, and I can drill holes through. And for up here, for over here, we can put this piece in here, and then once again I'll weld in the bottom piece, and then run bolts through the piece of run bolts through there, and that will be how I attach it. And then that way I can disassemble it, and all that sticks out of this frame are these pieces. It'll be really easy to carry this up and down stairs and through doorways. So I got all those pieces cut. I just need to mark out where exactly they're going to be located. For the corner pieces, obviously it's pretty easy. Slap it in the corner, that's where it's going to be, and weld it in place. However, for these single pieces, I need to mark where they need to be, and then weld them in place. So that's next on the agenda. And then after that, it'll be drilling holes in our upright pieces. I'll mark out where I need to drill the holes, drill holes in the uprights, and then get some bolts through them. And this just goes to show you, if an idiot like me can do this, you obviously can do a better job. So use this as inspiration. Man, that guy's terrible. I could do so much better. See, I'm motivating you to do this. Alright, had to rework my microphone for a second there. So this, for you, is ingenious welding protection my dad devised for when we're welding in 90-degree heat. It's nice to have, and you're too cheap to buy the full welding sleeves. A nice heavy sweatshirt cut works. It ain't pretty, but it gets the job done. And if you've been following this entire project, that's my motto. It ain't pretty, but it gets the job done. It's my most successful pickup line as well. Alright. Here we go. So there is all the welds. A little closer. I gotta let this cool down. These were tough ones because I had quite a bit of a gap in between there, and I probably should have just welded all this together and then hammered that closer and welded that, but I tried to bridge the gap before I welded all those. I don't know if that was the right decision. Now lastly, I want to fill in that gap there, try to build it up on the bottom, but I'm going to let this cool down a bit because it's pretty toasty. So I'll come back after this is cooled down and we'll try to fill that piece. And we are going to let that cool down all the way into the next video. That will be the end of this video. I know this video was a lot more on me talking, going through some of the process stuff and designing aspects. I originally was going to cut that out, but I figured it would be nice to include that in the video so you have an idea of what I was thinking, some of the ideas I had, and just clue you in some of the design process, so that way you have a better understanding of why I made the decisions I made. So with that, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you come around the next one, which should have more of just continual progress.